Hi, we're back with Plus This.
Woohoo!
And our sister friend is in the house.
Yeah. Can you say her name?
Yes, Alyssa Preston is in the house.
Hi,
Do you know that
ladies.
Kathy has a hard time saying names? So
Because that was hilarious because I was watching the episode from last time and you did that and I was like, but she's gonna know my name.
yeah,
I
she
better
does.
Be able to say
You
my
better
name.
know
your name.
yeah.
Yeah, right. We're gonna have words.
Right.
I'll be like,
If I just was like, Ardalissa.
no.
I didn't mean to out where you lived, by the way.
Yeah. By the way, well, you know.
Well, you
It's
didn't.
hard.
I said the greater Los Angeles area of near the
we
Plus
can say
Plus.
the eastish side. You know, it's a
That's right. It's a little
it's a
vague.
general area. Thanks, Kathy.
Terrible. I've known her such a long time.
I
She
know.
has so many secrets. Like
She told them all to me.
Alyssa also says that I know where the bodies are buried. It's kind of true.
It's really
It's
true.
a little bit
But see, when we
reversed.
were coming up, there was no social media, so we're good.
Yeah, there's no pictures of you on the internet doing
no on the
crazy
internet.
things.
Like there might be random. I have most of the photos, so it's
You
just like,
do.
oh yeah, I
I have a lot of.
Oh.
I wrote a lot of letters.
and faxes.
And
I was just
faxes.
talking the other day.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
from Europe, you had to fax things.
Like when we went away, like we were away, there were no cell phones. There was no the
Just to help people
Instagram.
out. Just to help people out, we did the European tour of hair
Yes,
together.
let's tell them what we're talking
So we were on a bus pretty much 4 to 8 hours a day.
Oh, you're being generous. I felt like it was like 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah,
on
it
a
was
rolling
it
tin
was
can.
a lot. It was a lot. It was smelly.
Yeah, that
That was smelly. People smell.
You would never survive in there, Eva.
I would
You
not. I'd be
never
like
survive.
peppermint oil just everywhere.
Who wasn't? It wasn't even on our tour. It was somebody on our tour who would go. Who was the bus bitch? I can say that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
of
Okay.
course.
I can say
You
language.
say everything.
Awesome. Who was the bus bitch? Who's like, okay, y'all, you need to take a shower. Please use soap.
Yeah.
You know, we get under
Yeah, yeah.
before we would do the nude scene, you'd get under the parachute and people would be like taking off their caftans. It was just like, that was the fine. It was just like, whoo, darling, air the
Yeah.
bits.
Well,
Air the
also,
bits.
We,
We can
also
smell it.
by the time that part, it was like an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. By the time that
Yeah.
part of the show happened,
So we were.
So
that's,
we
you know
were.
what? You're very.
We were
that's
really
fair.
we were dancing and singing. So she is
That
a
was
musical theater friend. She's another
Yeah.
singer.
Yeah.
And she
Oh,
very
so you're gonna come sing
famously-
karaoke with us?
I would love to do
We're
karaoke.
doing every guest on our show almost has been a singer. So we're gonna do Big Girl Karaoke.
I love karaoke.
Yeah, we're gonna totally do it.
I
Okay.
only like karaoke in a private room.
But we can have a private room.
We can go down to Max Karaoke in,
Yeah.
downtown.
We don't have to even go downtown.
Who wants to do a regular room karaoke? Not me.
Dude, people.
Not me.
I went to a Halloween party last week and somebody literally was like, I'm leaving this party. I'm going to go sing karaoke. I'm going to go to Bean Bob, whatever that bean town
Beanery?
is.
Swamp
Whatever. The
Cutters.
beanery. Yeah, they're going to go to the beanery to go sing. And I was like, who are these people?
Well, I mean, it can be fun, but no, if you want to like really get into it and just
I mean,
be
come
dumb
on.
and like play all of the songs that you want
Yeah.
to play, then you need a room.
yeah, yeah. But she has done the original cast of Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I did do that.
Which is a
yeah.
Stephen Schwartz connection we have. She's brilliant. She's brilliant.
Well, and I saw that you play a lot of German parts. Do you speak German?
I do. Well, what had happened was
What
What
happened
happened
Why
was
you have a
is-
connection with Germany?
because I stayed on tour for about 3 years, and then there's a whole scene over there that if you want to do a bunch of different musicals or plays or what have you, like there's the 1000th version of Phantom of the Opera. There's a whole scene.
Yeah.
it's true, and people raise their kids and buy their homes and vacation, and it's awesome.
Oh,
So-
wait, don't show those yet, Jarvis.
We're showing
Wait,
I'm not looking. Not yet. So I stayed on there and then did get cast because Disney was going to do a live action of Hunchback of Notre Dame, and they did Lion King and all of that. So, but they wanted to premiere it in Berlin because they felt that it was a very European story, obviously. And so I had to. I learned I learned like 3 sentences in German for my audition. Got the job, but then it had to be in German, so I was like, oh well, better learn. So that sort of, and I stayed on there over a decade. So
Wow.
That's my German connection.
So would you say that you're fluent now?
By American standards, yes. No, because I came back here and people would be like, "So you're fluent?" And I'd be like, "Well, I'm quite okay." And not really like in German, quite okay means like, "Yeah, you're fucking awesome, you're fierce."
Right.
But yeah, American. I'm fluent. I sound, I believe, like a very posh trucker because I learned how to speak phonetically with a coach, so it had to be very like Hochdeutsch, akzentfrei, very, very clear. But I learned conversation from musicians and techies, so I'm all like, hanging out.
You're a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll.
I'm a little country.
Oh, we're the same. How would you say that in German?
Ein bisschen, no, I have no idea.
She's like, I'm not fluent anymore, guys.
Well, country, they don't have the country genre. They don't. You would say rock and roll because it's American.
Oh, I like it.
You just have to do it with an accent.
Yeah, I can do it.
Eine kleine country.
Eine kleine.
I used to say eine kleine for everything.
No, and it's
everything.
ein bisschen country and ein bisschen rock and roll.
And also, cheers. That was our big thing. It's like, see you later.
Let's see.
Cheers.
Cheers. T-C-H-U-S.
Anyway, so that was like anyway.
Now we're all talking about Germany.
Let's talk about your.
Now we want to definitely show these unbelievable.
Wait, but
pictures.
I have to talk about this first because there's an order that I want Jarvis to put him up.
Okay.
Okay,
yes.
Because your character in your video game, I watched that little clip that you sent, and I was madly in love with her because she's like, I am in love with you and you're too stupid to know. And so show that one. So she's like, I'm in love with you. She's talking to this guy. And she's like, you're too stupid to know. And then so show the next one. And she's like, but it's okay because I'm going to mentally use you for my pleasure. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
I love it so much. And then she goes on to like kick some serious
behind.
Yeah. She's like choking out a lady and like does all this. That's amazing.
Yeah. So when you would get these scripts, so when you read that, you got to see that.
Well, here's what had happened.
What had happened is
that's going to be my segue. I just apparently decided.
We're gonna just make a gift for that for you. What had happened?
When I was hired, this game is it's a franchise that's been around for 30 years, the Castle of Wolfenstein. And so this had been rebooted in a Wolfenstein 1, and now this is Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. So there was a Bible of a script. It was available, but some of it was redacted. So some things we wouldn't know because we filmed this over about 2 years. Oh, wow, so, and it wasn't straight 2 years. It was a session, and then they'd go back to Sweden, and they'd do their thing, and then they'd come back here. And so, what would happen is that the script would develop over time. So there's a section of where there's a little Easter eggy thing if you wait long enough when you play the game of me singing, and that was because Jens and the creator, Matthias, I forget how to say his name because he's Swedish, and I don't want to screw it up, so sorry, Jens. Jens, the creator, and Tom, the director, like we would just talk about things, life and whatnot, so they found, they realized I was a singer, so they put they put little things like that in, where it was just in a video game, why do they need me singing? Well, because I can.
Right. That's awesome.
And so
also that, like, there are so many things that happen, especially that was the last scene I filmed, I believe.
Oh, really?
It was this final day. I don't know actually, because then there was a one after that. So I think I did that before. But that was my final scene, and it was great because often you have to shoot out of order on many projects, but especially a video game because of the technical needs of the production. So what was interesting is that I knew she was the daughter of the main villain. I knew she was going to defect and she was going to, join the Rebel Alliance and all of that. But she was also to be young. She's also to be 18. So that's one of the things that when I watched it, I was like, oh, the breakdown said 25. But I can see that. I can see they aged her down a little bit. All right. but a lot of that, the slap of Grace, like that Grace's character is a badass Rebel Alliance addition to the game. She's a new character also, and so her whole thing was like, I don't need to be polite to you. You're a Nazi, and I don't want anything to do with you. And that was the moment where she was like,
oh, you like lose your mind.
Well,
You're like, don't call me that.
well, she had contributed. Like, that was my whole thing, was that yes, she was young and she was immature and she had a lot of growing up to do, but she was not a Nazi. She was in an environment and she got herself out because there's an execution scene, which I don't know that you should show if you have like all ages that watch this, but it's really heavy. It's where her mother, I can't say what she does, but she does something terrible. And there's a whole torture scene. Like, it's not just the execution, it's a torture scene. And it's a torture scene of Sigrun. So that's your character's name.
That
Sigrun Engul is the Frau Engul, Irene Engel's daughter, and that's something that even fans or the reviewers are noticing. They're like, oh, you really do see just how evil this baddie villain is by how she's treating her own
daughter. Wow,
yeah, for sure. Now, you had never done motion capture before.
No.
What was the first day of that like? Describe that, because I am going to be honest. We think about all of the unitard with the white dots
and the cage,
and I have like a nervous breakdown because I don't know how I would feel about that.
It's a lot of equipment. And I was very lucky that the woman who played Frau Engel, Nina, is a fantastic German. She works in America all the time. She's a fantastic German actress. And our director, Tom, was a theater guy, like from New York, like very experimental, like La Mama, old school, New York theater. Right. So he gave us rehearsal time just one-on-one.
Oh,
and
great.
She was instrumental for me having a really good first day because she told me these things that you would just only know if you're doing the motion capture, and especially like about the cages that's on, they have to have the camera there, and it's remarkably workable once you get used to it, but your first day is like throwing somebody down and jumping on them, and if you click you have to recalibrate, and so it's like, it's not a tragedy, but it holds things up.
Sure. Wow.
And so that, as far as wearing the suit, as far as being in front of people doing sex scenes, doing things where you get remarkably comfortable because they're all there to do a job. Like, I never, ever felt anything but supported. Everyone was always awesome.
Do you feel like they made the suit the right size for you?
Yeah, they did. I had a fitting, and they had available options, and I put it on, and there were some things that fit and some things that didn't, and really my biggest thing were my feet. I was like, because they have a certain boot that you have to wear, and I was like, these are my insoles, please put them in.
Wow.
Because sometimes we switch them out. Like, they're massive amounts of characters, and so if you're the same size, you might share them. Not with somebody on the same day, obviously,
right, sure,
but it's for the production. And that was one thing that I was like, if you could possibly make sure they're the same, because you want to feel comfortable. And I was like, these are my little inserts. And,
yeah.
But like that. But I didn't feel. One, I never felt anything but supported and respected, but I've always loved that Jens created this character before he ever met me. You know what I mean? This was the story he wanted to tell in his mind. Like, he wanted this to be a part of his world. I mean, like, in all of their worlds, everybody that works there. But you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like he just met this unicorn and was like, oh, I must have you in my show. He knew he wanted to tell this story, and he wanted to include that.
That's so great. So, how did you feel when you finally saw it?
When
you saw her?
When was the first time you saw her? Like, did you see her before? Like, you had done some, because you said you did it in pieces.
We did it in pieces, and I did the first session, blind.
Right.
And then I came back the second time, and they had a rendering where the mouth didn't match, and they're like it was just, there was their working version, but they're like, oh, it might not have even been the second, it might have been like the third. They're like, oh, do you want to see a scene? And I was holding a script at the time, and I totally dropped it, and like the papers went everywhere, and people made fun of me because I literally was like, oh my goodness. I got so overwhelmed because I'm blonde and I'm not normally blonde, so that was very disconcerting. It was also I mean, the first scene I saw was the singing scene, actually. So I thought that was hilarious. Like, there's a thing, and it was, hilarious. So I was just kind of like, oh my God, that's so funny.
Don't make me want to play a video game,
know.
so I can see the Easter egg.
We're going to be like, somebody put the Easter egg on YouTube so we can see it, because we're not going to play the game, because we're not gamers.
Oh, is it there?
Oh, is it? Oh, we'll have to Google
we'll put it. We'll totally Google it.
Somebody find the link. Somebody find the link for us right now.
Put the link in. I'm watching it. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, people, but that's the thing, is that people have started to rip the scenes and put them on, and so that's the only way that I've seen it, because I don't game either, and there's a part of me that feels really self-indulgent to like, I'm gonna go buy a video game so I can like play with myself. Yeah, because it can't even play me. Like it's a single shooter.
Oh, right.
Single, yeah. So you can't. I'm not like a true avatar in the sense you can't play me.
Right.
Oh, but
you can play with me.
We're gonna continue this conversation after a quick break, but we definitely want to talk about. You and I had a conversation about trolls and like the potential of, with
I can
the
tell you
Nazi
my concerns.
things.
Yeah, I can tell you
what
were
back.
my concerns. Yeah,
yeah. I'm really.
We're gonna take a really very short break.
Very right
really
questions though. Right questions.
Yeah.
I'm reading right questions.
We'll be back.
It's not the natural beauty products in your life, but the life in your natural beauty products. Linda Kammen's Aromatherapy Salon. LindaKammens.com for happier, healthier living.
And we're back. We said it was a brief break, and we meant it.
I'm trying to refresh the comments, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I like to think that I have this figured out, but I don't necessarily.
But really, Kathy is not the techie person.
I know.
But I can't do
I'm
it.
practically Amish, so don't ask me how to do it.
But we wanted to talk a little bit about gamers and trolls, because Lindy West, we're huge fans of.
Yes.
She talked about how she found literally like a direct line between her trolls and Donald Trump. And
basically it was reported.
And a lot of them are gamers.
Yeah.
So like when, because obviously people don't necessarily know what you look like, because I don't know how the credits come up or anything for games.
I don't know how it would be credited in the game. Kathy and I did talk about a concern that I had that really it's not quite on topic, but it is similar to what you're talking about because of the nature of the game, and it is about an alternate reality where Germans won World War II. The first part of the game, I am a Nazi in the sense that I'm wearing a swastika. That is a shot that now is on the internet of this avatar, and that's the character. Without context, plus I was, I had an NDA. I couldn't, put anything out there. So I was like, phew, cool.
Right.
But once it came out, I was like, well, then it's going to come out and you're going to know the context of the game. So I was just like, that's fine, because that's the reality of the character. Obviously, it's make-believe. But a concern that I did have was because the game got a little bit of press from the alt-right that they were saying we were discriminating against people, and that because we were showing Nazis in a bad light, that
they don't do that themselves. Yeah.
Like it was very odd. And I mean, of course the game, producers and publishers were on, the side of right. And I mean, not alt-right, I mean correct. They were on the side of correct. Of human. Right. People we like. And said, yeah, we live in a reality where, in our game reality, we kind of gave it as a given that the Nazis were the villains. And Jens the creator had a very interesting take on it. He's like, we've been filming this game for 3 years. The fact that you're finding it relevant now is unfortunate. And he's Swedish, by the way, so he's like, it's unfortunate that, that you find it relevant. But it's not like they went 3 years ago and were just like, so how do we troll you?
Right.
It was already a franchise that was 30 years old. But yeah, no, before it came out, I did have a little bit of concern that because I'm not going to fit perhaps people's Nazi ideal of what a woman should look like.
I can't believe we're talking about this.
No, but I mean,
it
is true. I mean, you watch movies and like all the Nazis are like sexy Nazis.
Well, there's
Right?
you know, and some people that get it, that are talking and reviewing the game in a serious review, are like, yes, this is showing, again, like we were saying, like Frau Engel and the villainous of the game, showing her, you know, myopic view of humanity or lack thereof, you know, and her, you know, very, you know, evil point of view. But of course, you know, the comment section of the internet is where humanity goes to die.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Right.
So, by the way, I'm not reading that because
Just don't.
you know they're legit.
You wouldn't know what your book would be called?
What would my book? My book might be called
Troll book.
Your troll book?
My troll book. Oh, I don't know if it'd be my troll book, but my book might be called Alexander Skarsgård Asked, but I had to say no. That would be my book name.
Hells to the yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about this Lindy West thing because she was on Fresh Air with Terry Gross and on NPR, and it was really interesting because she said this thing so plainly.
I know.
And she just was like, people don't take fat women seriously. And she said it like it was milk is white.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that with you guys today. Like, Eva and I had a great conversation about, like, at what age did you sort of realize that the way you looked stopped people from treating you like the other girls? I mean, already, women already get the shaft, let's be fucking honest.
Sure. Things are rough all over.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, for sure. And, but there is definitely that, you know, she made a really great case for why people of a certain size really people do not consider their feelings. She says, like, it's the easiest way to make a cut at somebody, and people have no hesitation doing it, and it's usually the first thing that comes to people's heads. And
Well, because we wear our insecurities outward. We don't, when you see a thin person, you don't know what their insecurity is necessarily.
yeah.
But it is assumed that when you're bigger, that is what you're insecure about.
Yeah.
I can see, you know, I see where you're going with
And so
that.
she was saying how when you're in the public eye, that is the easiest, fastest jab because it's so visual.
It is, and I don't want this isn't a devil's advocate argument. This is a yes and argument that, like, when Callistia Flockhart, when
Calissa Flockhart,
thank you, when she first came to fame, and Ally McBeal, she was persecuted for her body, you know, which was the other end of
opposite,
the opposite end of the
super
spectrum.
tiny.
And she made a very good quote about concern, because she also was talking about, you know, way back in the day, we're talking politics, of Linda Tripp and the way that people really vilified her based on her appearance. And so she had said, Miss Flockhart had said, you know, it's really the easiest way to take away a woman's power is to comment on her appearance.
Yeah, because
in a
you don't
negative way.
necessarily do that with men. I mean, unless you're a fat man like Chris Christie, people make fun of Chris Christie. But men
But it
in
took
general,
a lot. But it took a lot to make fun of him. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like he came out of the gate and they were already like, "Hey, watch
Sure.
those
Yeah,
cheeseburgers." He had to
exactly.
make colossal. Well, I don't want to say colossal because that, you know, the bar is set so high for colossal. No,
Exactly.
But he had to make mistake after mistake after mistake.
Yeah, like shutting down an entire beach and only your family gets to go.
right?
I mean, that's you know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
right. Like,
Could've done
it
better.
has to be sort of that. And someone just saying the truth online.
or just saying daring to be disagreeable, not for the sake of being disagreeable, but because you disagree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think she has a good point that she's daring to have an opinion while fat, heaven forbid.
Yeah.
Right. And she has actually quit Twitter
Yeah.
Yeah.
completely.
And she was great on Twitter too.
And she was saying how, you know, there's a part of her that misses it because she misses having the voice, and a little bit she feels like the trolls won, but really truly she's like, I can't be on a platform that endorses Donald Trump.
yeah, she's like, I feel like I'm a participant in it. If he's
Like
she
that
said the
she's
tweeting-
endorsing, that she felt like she was endorsing
Yeah,
the
but
platform.
it was his tweets about North Korea.
Right.
That part resonated with me as well, because I've been off Facebook
Yeah.
for a while.
I was gonna say.
and I can't say that, you know, I can't do it as articulately as Lindsay West would do it, but I remember when I needed to get off was just, this wasn't adding something to my life, and I did not want to participate. So it's not like, oh, I'm so highfalutin. It was just like, maybe I'm too tenderhearted. Okay. You know, but I want my social media to be like my social life, to be like my intimate life, to be like my
Right.
private life, which is, full of the wonderful things that we give to one another.
Which is such a great segue you just made. Did I just? Because we posted an article about myths about having sex with fat women, and they said they called it something weird, and I was kind of like, Refinery, please get it together, because you can't omit them. The way they said it, the title of the article was a little weird, but
it was like myths about having sex.
Myths to omit about having sex with fat women. It was just bizarre.
I know, it was like really
And I was
bizarrely
like,
written.
they did. I was like, let's like obliterate them. How about that? How about let's just like blow them up? And I want Alyssa in on this because she's sort of like a dating inspiration for me. I mean, I know you went through like a really hard time when you were getting divorced, and that going back in the dating game, you were married for a very long time.
Yeah.
And getting back in the game was tough, and I just love that you went for it, and it was like something for me to like pay close attention to. To like remind myself that things are possible. But did you get to read that article at all?
I did get to read that article.
Was there anything in there that really stood out to you in its buffoonery?
You mean about the myths themselves or their commentary on it? It's like, because I didn't.
Well, some of the myths are really stupid. Like, it's like fat people feel gross, and I'm like, my whole body feels like a boob. So if you like a boob, you like me. Just gonna say.
They are magnificent, by the way. Like, they're magnificent.
I mean, it's just real. I mean, fat people have body limitations. Everybody has limitations.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, all of them. Like, all these things. Like, fat people will sleep with anybody out of desperation. Wrong.
Yes, all of them are bullshit. But I was just wondering if there was one in particular that like stood out to you and it could be either way, whether it was the writer's comment on it or.
I think what I thought of when I read the article, because none of them were new to me. Like you hear them, hopefully you don't, believe them, but you hear them out in the media and the world. I think what resonated with me is I was thinking that one of our problems in America is that, yes, maybe not lately with the funding for public education going the way it is. I'm going to get all political here. But the idea that we do teach the mechanics of sex, we teach birth control, we teach disease prevention naturally. We don't teach about sexual agency. We don't teach about desire. And it's like, on one hand, I read that article and I go, well, you can't legislate desire. People like what they like. So if you like someone smaller, great, mazel tov, go with God. If you like somebody bigger, it's the part of like owning what you like.
Yeah, for sure.
And I read that article and I think that's the problem. We're not teaching, not just, we're devaluing the emotional aspects of it. And so it's not like you have to meet one person and get married and like, if that works for you, great. But we just don't, it's our culture that we talk about it in sports and war metaphors when we talk about sexuality.
Yeah.
And so when I read that, I was like, yeah, people say that, and it's bullshit. We have a hard time with female desire anyway.
Yeah.
Never mind embodying it in a lush form.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Period. I mean, and obviously with all of the sexual assault stuff that's coming out, there's clearly a problem. If almost every single woman that I know wrote #MeToo, the chances are that almost every single man I know has done something that has not necessarily, might not be a rapist, but has done something that they maybe should think about and apologize for.
A friend of mine put it really well. She said, there are people that fuck up, and then there are people that fuck up big time, and then there are sexual predators when we're talking about, sexual assault. But the fact is, like with the Me Too thing, I'm of two minds about it, only because if we were talking about it, before in the green room, when you are a survivor, you do what you need to do to move on. And so that's like, again, mazel tov, go with God. There is a performance aspect, not of what they're doing, but of we as a culture are demanding of survivors. Yeah. We keep doing that. We keep saying, well, you must perform your pain and then we'll take it seriously. Right. And I'm just like, there's no one right way to survive.
No.
There's no, and there's no one right way. There are people that do it in private, and like you say, like not everyone is a predator, but when you are a victim of any type of violence, that it rubs me the wrong way. I don't like the.
It's not a victim looks like this.
Yeah, I don't like the
predator looks like
requirement
this.
of like take me seriously because I'll be out into the entire world about my experience.
For sure.
Well, it was like
sure.
that thing with I'm just like blank Usher, and they didn't believe that this bigger girl had sex with him.
Right.
But they believed that he had sex with a man.
Yeah.
Oh, more than him having sex with a big girl.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And again, people believe men more than they believe women. That's just true.
I think that's fair. And
Across the
there are far brighter minds than mine that have gone on to why we as an American culture have such a problem with fat women. Like, I can't unpack all of that. I think that's part of like what you're doing and what I love about what you're doing.
we unpack it every week.
No, exactly. No, but
We try to unpack
in
a
your Louis
little bit.
Vuitton luggage.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to end on an up, if
Okay.
that's okay. Because one of the things that I loved was an Instagram post of someone who at a size 12 wore a dress and then in the size 20 wore a dress. And it just made me think that there are some like magical dresses out there.
There are.
And
Because I have one where I was a size 10 and wore it, and I'm not a size 10 and still wear it.
yeah. And I just was wondering, like, let's go to the Plus Bus right now and find one. I just feel like there's like a line of clothes out there waiting to be done, like called magical dresses.
Yeah,
or
it's called
something.
That's the plus this
Magic wear.
product
Plus
line.
this
There you
magic
go.
wear.
Magical.
Do you find that with clothing there you do have that? We have definitely been in serious like clothing swap, you and I.
Oh, sure.
Do you have like the dress that's like the go-to no matter?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a magic dress. I feel like I'm always getting like very serious in all your questions, but it's like, so it's like, well, actually the fashion industry, because I do so, for myself, like not a designer, but I used to work for a menswear designer. And that's part of the thing when you talk about sizing. It's like she is pointing out that, yes, there are magical dresses, but she's also pointing out that numbers really mean nothing. Like
Squat.
Yeah, the history of ready-to-wear, American ready-to-wear, if you like that kind of thing, which I do, it's fascinating. But it's all about production. It's all about grading, and it's all about fit model. Like you find your fit model, and then everything is graded off of that. So when people are going shopping and they're taking something and it's doesn't fit them the way they think, well, it's like, you find another brand. Find a brand that you will find it, and it will have the fit model that is more similar to your body type, and then it will be magic
I'm
for you.
golden.
Right.
That's how I do all of my clothing. But we have to go.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, yeah, tell us.
we have to
how can people
know.
find you?
How do they find you?
They can find me on the Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Alyssa M. Preston. I'm on the Instagram. I am on Twitter, the same handle. I don't do it much, but I'm there. You can find
She's
it.
doing it. She's doing her Instagram's real cute.
You can check my Instagrams.
And also, if they want to check out the game,
if they want to check out the game, I'm going to look at it because I want to
Yeah,
make sure I
do
say
it.
it right. Okay, so we already had the release date. Oh my God, where's my paper? It had everything.
It was released
There we
on
go.
October 27th.
It was
so recently.
And so the platforms are PC, Microsoft Windows, of course, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. It was released by Machine Games. The publisher is Bethesda, and it's called Wolfenstein II: The New Colossus.
Go get it if
Go
you're a
see her
gamer.
Avatar, play
It's
it,
amazing.
and tag us. 'Cause we
Sigrun-
wanna watch
Sigrun
it.
Engul.
Yes, find the Easter egg and tag us in it.
Yes, we're gonna go hunting.
I'm not. I can't play a game.
This has been a year in the making.
Oh,
to have you
I know
here.
we couldn't talk about it
I
until
know.
it was
I'm
done.
so excited.
Thank you for having
Congratulations.
me.
I'm glad it's finally out.
It's out.
And maybe you'll see us at the Plus Bus, guys. Head over there.
Hello.
We'll be back next week at Plus This.
Bye.